If you feel like you've reached the end of the internet and there's nothing left on Netflix except reality dating shows and mediocre true crime, I have some very good news for you. You haven't even scratched the surface. Most people just watch whatever the home screen shoves in their face, but the actual prestige storytelling is often buried 3 layers deep or hidden in the international libraries. Today, we are counting down the 5 best Netflix original series you need to watch right now, and I promise you, these are going to completely change your expectations of what a streaming service can produce. Just a quick tip, a few of these gems are currently exclusive to regions like the UK or South Korea. If you have a VPN, you can just switch your location to catch them. It's honestly worth the 2 seconds to access the quality we're talking about today. If you find something you might watch, hit subscribe. Kicking things off at number 5 is a show that I genuinely believe puts The Walking Dead to shame. Kingdom is a South Korean masterpiece that combines a high-stakes political thriller with a visceral, terrifying zombie plague set in the Joseon period. Imagine the palace intrigue of a period drama where the king suddenly turns into a monster that only comes out at night, and the crown prince has to navigate a coup while literally fighting for his life against a starving undead army. It is visually intoxicating. The costumes, the architecture, and the sheer scale of the action sequences are just spectacular. There is a specific scene in the first season where the sun starts to set and you see hundreds of bodies, which everyone thought were dead, suddenly start to twitch and stand up in unison. It is one of the most chilling images I have ever seen in the genre. This isn't just about gore, it's about the cost of power and how a corrupt government is often more dangerous than the monsters at the gate. If you can't find it in your local library, fire up that VPN and set it to South Korea or the UK. You can thank me later. At number 4 is the rawest, most uncompromising crime drama on the platform. Top Boy started on Channel 4 in the UK, but Netflix properly revived it and turned it into a global phenomenon. It follows Duchesne and Sully, 2 drug dealers in a fictional London housing estate, as they navigate the brutal reality of the streets and the constant threat of rival gangs. This show doesn't glamorize the lifestyle. It shows the absolute grinding wear and tear it takes on your soul. The performances from Ashley Walters and Kane Robinson are a masterclass in quiet intensity. It's about loyalty, betrayal, and the tragedy of 2 men who are too smart for the world they were born into. It's gritty, it's heartbreaking, and it feels more real than anything else in the genre. If you like the layered storytelling of The Wire, this is the closest you are ever going to get to that level of quality. It is properly brilliant television. Now, I know what some of you are thinking when you see the thumbnail for this next one. Isn't that just a cartoon for teenagers? Let me be very clear. Thinking Arcane is for kids is like thinking The Godfather is just a movie about a wedding. This is a properly dark, high-stakes political tragedy that deals with class warfare, systemic corruption, and the kind of soul-crushing sibling rivalry that would make Shakespeare take notes. It follows 2 sisters, Vi and Jinx, who find themselves on opposite sides of a brewing war between a wealthy utopia and a starving, neon-soaked underworld. The animation by Fortiche is unlike anything you have ever seen. It looks like a living oil painting that has been injected with pure adrenaline. One moment that completely floored me occurs in the finale of the first season, involving a dinner table and a choice that changes the world forever. It is a masterclass in psychological tension and tragic irony. The voice acting, specifically from Ella Purnell, captures a descent into madness that feels terrifyingly grounded. On Letterboxd and IMDb, this is consistently ranked as one of the best reviewed shows of all time, and it's because the writing treats its adult audience with absolute respect. It is visceral, it is beautiful, and it is a masterpiece of modern sci-fi. If you've been skipping this because you think you're too old for animation, you are doing yourself a massive disservice. At number 2 is a show that is so clinical and so hauntingly quiet that I am still genuinely angry we never got a 3rd season. David Fincher's Mindhunter is the definitive look at the birth of criminal profiling in the 1970s. It follows 2 FBI agents who realize that if they want to catch the monsters of the future, they have to start interviewing the monsters of the present. This isn't a show about high-speed chases or shootouts. It's a show about the power of a conversation. Most of the drama takes place in cramped gray interview rooms across from some of the most notorious killers in American history. Cameron Britton gives a performance as Ed Kemper that is properly chilling. He plays him not as a screaming lunatic, but as a polite, highly intelligent man who just happens to be a predator. A sequence that always sticks with me is when Kemper stands up in his cell to show Detective Holden exactly how much physical power he has, and the atmosphere in the room shifts from academic to life-threatening in a heartbeat. Fincher's direction is as precise as a surgeon's scalpel, making even a ringing telephone sound like a threat. It is a slow burn masterpiece that understands that the most terrifying thing on earth isn't a jump scare. It is the human mind when it decides to break the rules. This is essential viewing for anyone who loves a procedural with actual weight. And at number 1, the undisputed king of the Netflix original library. The German series Dark is quite simply the most ambitious and perfectly executed piece of science fiction ever put to film. It starts with the disappearance of a young boy in a small town, but it quickly spirals into a brain-melting 3-season epic involving multiple generations, time travel, and a family tree that is so complex you might actually need to take notes. This is the ultimate stay-up-all-night puzzle. What makes Dark so brilliant is that it's not just a mystery, it's a tragedy about fate and the terrifying idea that we are all just loops in a predetermined nightmare. The atmosphere is heavy with rain and shadow, and the score uses these low, vibrating tones that make you feel like the world is ending in real time. Consider the way the show handles its reveals, characters discovering their own origins in the most devastating ways possible. It's the kind of writing that makes your head spin, but never feels like a cheap trick. On Reddit, this show has a cult following that is properly obsessive because every single detail matters. Everything is connected. By the time you reach the final episode, you realize that the creators had the entire ending planned from the very first frame. It is a perfect closed-loop masterpiece, and that is the top 5. 5 series that prove Netflix is capable of world-class storytelling when they actually let directors take risks. From the historical horror of Kingdom to the absolute time-bending genius of Dark, these are the shows that remind me why I genuinely love television. They don't just fill the time, they demand your attention and your willingness to dive into the deep end. The range of what these creators achieved, the gritty realism of Top Boy, and the operatic tragedy of Arcane is properly inspiring. Which show on this list is the one you're starting tonight? Or did I miss a hidden gem that absolutely should have been here? Drop it in the comments. If this list helped you find your next binge watch, a quick thumbs up goes a long way. And if you really love TV shows and movies like me, hit subscribe.